I don't even know what I'm going to call this video. I have no idea what I'm going to make the thumbnail. All I know is that the rats are running for the hills. And this post right here that you are seeing on my screen is, so I read this and my hair stood on end where I was like, let's go. Now, let me start by reading you something that RFK posted. Okay, you ready for this? The FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, vitamins, clean foods, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, and anything else that advances human health that can't be patented by pharma. If you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. One, preserve your records. Two, pack your bags. Let's go. Okay? Let's go. And the one we're going to start with is even better than that. And that's pretty bananas. Okay. So we are also going to look at some statistics related to this election versus 2020 that are going to blow your mind. And here's the deal. Someone needs to go to jail. Okay. They need to go to jail or come up with an explanation for the figures that we're going to go over. Okay. Because the idea that everybody was the gaslighting that we dealt with for the last 4 years. Well, that's over. We're talking cold, hard data. And if you don't have an explanation for it, then we need to start pointing at people who facilitated what we're talking about. Okay. So that is what we're going to do. Now, do you want your own pair of these shoes for free? Let me tell you how that can happen. Now, this feels like the right video to tell you about Sheath underwear, the official sponsor of the UFC, as well as veteran-owned, patriotic, love Trump. They are happy as clams that these guys won. And guess what? This month, I am going to buy not a pair of Jordans for the winner. Okay, not a pair of Jordans. If you go on this website right here, sheathunderwear.com, you shop for anything you want, any item that you want, whether it's women's stuff, men's stuff, doesn't matter. Look at all the stuff. You buy anything. For each item that you buy, using the promo code FIRE, you email to my email, realjesseonfire@gmail.com. You get one entry per thing that you buy, and I am going to buy a pair of those for the winner. You're going to get a pair of free Trump high tops. You can have the silver ones or the gold ones, completely up to you. So go to sheathunderwear.com. You go shopping. You send a receipt. As long as you use the promo code FIRE to realjesseonfire@gmail.com, and you are going to get entered to win a pair of those. Silver or gold, completely up to you. Sheathunderwear.com. Okay, so let's jump right into this thing, and we're going to start right here. This is exactly what we're talking about, and then we're going to get into the specific data that backs this up that someone needs to answer for. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. What advantage is there in knowing your enemy's plans ahead of time? The enemy had a plan, but their playbook is old and stale. It's completely predictable. Plan A. Flood the swing states with fraudulent voter registrations, cause chaos at Republican voting centers, slow down the count on election night, and drag out the results. Then bring in large amounts of fake ballots where needed and count for days until you have the required results. What happened? Fraudulent registrations were exposed in courtrooms before the election, and so were bloated voting rolls of illegals and dead people. Courts demanded those be removed before the election. Then the courts ruled that election day is election day and outlawed any ballots being counted that weren't received by election day. Checkmate. Okay. Plan B. Drag out the counts and announcement of results. Then, when it looks like Trump will win, launch riots and protests. Have the media question the results and feed the flames of the rioters. Launch lawsuits in all the swing states to deny certification and question the results. What happened? Too big to rig. It blindsided them. They were completely shocked. The only way Plan B was ever going to work was if it was a close race. It wasn't. It was a blowout, a red wave tsunami. Kamala didn't win a single county. She underperformed Biden in every possible way, while Trump outperformed his 2020 numbers everywhere. A blowout public mandate gave them no cover for their planned chaos. It would only bring quicker justice. I don't believe they expected this at all, which is why nothing happened. They don't know what to do now because they are facing the fact that none of their propaganda and gaslighting has worked. Plan C. Is it try to prevent certification, create their own January 6th moment? Answer, no. Too big to rig has also destroyed any cover for that plan too. Without a close election, it will look like exactly what it would be. A coup, an insurrection that would trigger instant military action and military justice. My friends, I think Plan C is now every man for himself. Try to cut a deal, keep your head down, and try to weather the incoming storm. TikTok. Dude, I am telling you right now, if you read that and that does not ring true to you, then I don't know what you're watching, because the only other scenario is a much worse one than that, okay? Which would be that they intentionally let him win because they want to do something, like take the bottom out from the country completely and then blame it on him. That's the only other scenario that would make any sense. Why else, but why would you pull Biden? You know what I mean? If you want to let him win, just keep Biden in there, right? Why pull him out and then give him Kamala that he's going to lose to, or he's going to win? So here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal. Now, I could read all of this stuff where people go into like really, really kind of specific scenarios that would be whatever. But here's another thing to look at, okay? Let's look at this, okay? Actually, you know what? I take that back. We're going to come to that in a second. First, look at this, all right? Take a look at these numbers. So here you go, okay? So in 2004, John Kerry gets 59 million votes. 2008, Obama got 69.5 million votes. Okay, I voted for Obama in 2008, and it was, everyone, it was the exact same as it was for Trump, except Obama, you knew it was a movement. He was getting elected, and it was a matter, like everyone went out. That was the first election I voted in. Okay, now, well, and then I was younger, but 2012, 66 million for Obama. 2016, Clinton, 65.9, exactly the same as Obama in the second election. 2020, 81.3 million votes. Okay? 81.3 million votes. 2024 Harris, 66.4. So basically, since 2008, you have had nearly the exact same number of people who come out to vote in the popular vote on the left. Except for somehow in 2020, it jumped up to 81.3 million. And then now, after, we saw what happened in 2020, and in 2024, everyone knew what was coming, got in front of it. I assume, listen, dude, I'm not even going to pretend to understand all the things that were going on. I still thought they were going to rig it, to be honest. That's what I thought was going to happen. But apparently, the Republicans were on top of it in advance. They knew what they had done last time. I'm just going to be honest. I thought that they were in the software. That's what I thought, right? That's what I thought. I am so happy to have been wrong, dude. Now, what do I know? I don't know anything. You know what I mean? I'm reading things that sound very, very, solid. But okay, so this is the first thing to look at, right? So these numbers, explain these to me. You know what I mean? Explain exactly how these numbers can be explained, okay? Oh, and by the way, yes, I did tag Destiny, and I did that specifically because he posted this. He said, here you go. He said, given the Dems turned out some 15 million fewer voters, I can't wait to see all the posts from conservatives admitting they were completely wrong about the deep state and rampant voter fraud. How on earth would 15 million less prove that there wasn't rampant voter fraud? As you can see per this graphic, in what universe? I don't understand. Run me through the logic there, because it proves the exact opposite. Okay, proves the exact opposite. Now let's go ahead and look at something else. Okay, so here's that. You just saw that graphic. Okay, now how about this? So what are we looking at over here? What's this? Okay, so the map above on the top is the map that details voter ID requirements by state. Okay? So the blue one is photo ID required. The blue one is photo ID required, and the gray is no ID required. Do you guys notice any correlation between the no ID and the ones that went blue? Anybody see any correlation there? Seems pretty similar, looks pretty similar from the gray to the blue. Looks like basically all the states that don't require ID have gone blue. Now, of course, that could be because only Democrats that could not explain that, that policy if you gave them 100 years, since obviously it is going to give you rampant ability to cheat. But nonetheless, maybe it's just because Democrat, it's like only a full Democrat supermajority could pass an idiotic law like that. But it seems like a pretty notable thing, right? You know what I mean? No ID required. Those are the ones that went blue. The only ones, except for, you know what? So Colorado has non-photo ID required. Okay. Is that the only one, dude? Is that the only one? Or I guess Virginia. Yeah, I mean, damn near the only one. Now, let me ask you this, okay? So I was talking about this in my live stream yesterday. So if you don't need ID to vote, right? So as long as you voted before in California, you do not need to show ID for any reason. Matter of fact, they can't even look at the ID. Let me ask you a question, okay? If you know your neighbor's name, let's just say you know the names of all the people on your street, okay? What would keep you from walking into a polling station claiming that you are your neighbor who, basically go around the neighborhood, you see everybody who has a Harrison Waltz or has a Trump, whatever, whichever side you are not aligned with, you know their names. What would keep you from going into a polling station, saying that you are that person, going in, they're like, what's your address? You give them their address. They give you the ballot, and you go in and you vote for the other person. What would keep them from doing that? Okay, the answer is nothing. Okay? The answer is nothing. You have enshrined the ability to cheat in your laws, in the way that you regulate elections. Walk me through it. You can't ask for ID. You literally just say the name and the address, and they give you a ballot. Okay, cool, right? So if I can do this to any of my neighbors, can you think of any way that could be organized for people to do the same thing on a wide scale? Like, as an example, if you registered a bunch of people who have either never voted or have voted before but don't vote anymore, or they're dead or whatever, and then you give people names and then they just go out and that's what they do. Poll to poll to poll to poll to poll to poll to poll. How would you know if a person's voted 1,000 times? You know what I mean? If all they have to do is just give a name and an address and you don't check their ID. It's absolute common sense. And what's your reasoning behind not doing it? Well, because, you can't expect these people to get an ID. Who exactly? Well, these blacks. Really? You think the other side's racist? That's like, well, first of all, we would never say that. But the fact that you think you can say that and then present yourself as the party that's protecting blacks. It's like all they do is use people's empathy against them to play dirty. That's it. That is what they do.